In addition to marking the beginning of a new decade, the year 2020 brings us a nationwide census. Every 10 years, a count is conducted that has a significant impact on the future of communities around the country. Scott Denfeld recently found out why a complete count is so important to Edina.
It's really foundational. It's in the Constitution.
How can I help you?
That there will be a count of everyone living in the United States.
The act of counting everyone who lives in the United States of America is understandably a large and important task.
The census determines how the lines are drawn for congressional districts and for state legislative districts. So very important to government. It's also important to funding that we think matters to our city government, but also the people in our community.
Funding things like roads, schools, hospitals, and more than 300 federal programs affecting everyone who lives in Minnesota.
From the very youngest in our community to the very oldest.
The result also steers private investment for the next decade.
Where does it make sense to build more housing? What kind of housing does it make sense to build?
Because of its importance, local complete count committees have been formed with the goal of ensuring no one is left out.
The effect of that count, whether it's a full and fair count and an accurate count, or whether it's an undercount, that effect is going to last for 10 years until the next census.
As in years past, the census will be brief, just 10 questions, and it's confidential for 72 years. But this time around, you will have more ways to participate.
What's new this year, and really important for people to understand, is that people are going to be invited to take the census online, by telephone, or as they have always, in paper.
Postcards and letters with a code needed to answer questions online are already on their way to Minnesota homes. Paper forms will start arriving after April 8th.
So if people don't want to knock on their door from a census enumerator, they should take the census prior to the end of April, one of those ways.
Because the results of the 2020 census will have far-reaching impacts as soon as next year, Bennett wants to ensure that all people participate.
Every person counts, and we hope every person is counted.
For Edina TV, I'm Scott Denfeld.
This year's census marks the 24th time that the country has counted its population since the year 1790.